And plus, this is a big game tonight. Every game is important. There's 44 games to go. And, look, we followed baseball a long time. And I said to Bob Melvin tonight, I don't know what you want to call whatever you're in. Is it a pennant race, a playoff? What are you trying to do with this third playoff position? Because you're right in the middle of it. It's mishmash. It's a mess. Everybody's losing. Everyone's stepping on each other. But the truth of the matter is they're 4 games out of a spot to play in October. And they play a team tonight that's been hot, and it's a very good team. And they've got their guy going tonight, and that is Logan Webb. And, why not? This is what baseball's all about. We love August baseball. This is when the stories are made.
Yeah. And you know what, Marty? I mean, here's what I've been thinking. There's 44 games left, as you said, and we know where they are in the standings. It's not insurmountable here. It's 4 games. They don't have the tiebreaker, so it's really 5 games. But here's my point, and I want to see how you feel about this. To me, it's not the calendar. There's enough time to make a move. Okay. So I'm not thinking like, oh boy, time's running out. There's 44 games left to get hot. So to me, the calendar is not the issue. The issue for me, Marty, is, are they capable of getting hot? There's enough time. There's enough games. They're not that far back in the standings. So we could talk about that, but you see what I'm saying? That's not an issue for me. I don't know that they're capable of doing what they need to do to erase a 4-game deficit in a wild card, for this third spot. What do you think about that?
Well, they have some players to do it. I mean, let's face it, Devers is getting hot. He's starting to connect more. He's more of a threat at the plate. Ramos gets on base 23 games in a row. It's the best in baseball right now. He hasn't hit a homer since July 5th, which is a little alarming, when you're trying to score runs. But you're dealing with Adames, you're dealing with Chapman and Dom Smith and Casey Schmidt and people like that. And my gripe all year is you're dealing with a lot of 230, 240 hitters. And guys like that, when the money is on the line, they're easier to pitch to than a guy who's hitting 290. So if they can put the bat on the ball and not strike out as much and get some decent pitching, they have the names that are capable of doing things. It's a question of going out and doing it. So you get Darvish tonight, and I realize it's a microcosm of one game. But Darvish, and you talk to people on the Padres side before the game, he has not been very good so far. They have the bullpen lined up, but the Padres are worried about burning out the bullpen before the end of the season. Yeah. So it becomes a unique game. So in a long way to answer your question, they have some hitters who are capable of carrying the team. Adames, Devers, Chapman, when they get hot, can do it. They just haven't gotten hot together, although Devers is starting to play a little better now. So we'll see. You got to play the games. But the names are there.
So, Marty, before we go into this Padres series and some of the Giants players you're talking about, and some are hot, some are not, I want to get your comments about the weekend. I said this is the most important homestand of the year. It is. It did not start out well. I was at the ballpark yesterday, and listen, we love being at the ballpark. The fans have been phenomenal this year. But, and I hate to say this, Marty, but we all know they lost 2 out of 3. But I think yesterday was as disappointing of a loss as we've seen all year. And I say that for, obviously, you want to win the series. The Nats are not a good team. They got some nice young players, but they're not a good team. They got the second worst record in the National League. But yesterday was really disheartening for me. The place was packed, sellout. It was a perfect day. It was glorious weather, and the fans were dying. I mean, they were dying to get this thing going, win a series, get ready for the Padres. And it ends up they lose 8-0. They get out hit 17-3. They strike out 15 times. And and Bob Melvin said it. He said, this is really disappointing. I mean, you give a sellout crowd nothing to cheer for. And I don't want to dwell on it a lot, but I did want to run it past you, Marty. I've been to, a ton of the games at the ballpark this year, and that was the one that probably disappointed me the most.
Yeah, not me. No. Mackenzie Gore was outstanding.
He was good. Yes, I'll give him that. He was good.
He is an all-star. Mackenzie Gore is an all-star, and he pitched like an all-star yesterday. He didn't just throw strikes. He did what Art Howe used to say. He didn't just throw strikes. He commanded the strike zone and threw everything right on the button, right on that line. He was fabulous. He shoved it on him. He did. And it was Mackenzie Gore's day yesterday was the big issue. For me, Verlander is a fifth starter. He's a guy who's going to give you 5, get the bullpen ready, and you hope that your ace is coming up the next day and you won't need a lot of bullpen. And he's 42 years old, and everyone expects perfection out of Verlander. It's just not there. He doesn't have command of the off-speed stuff, or he doesn't have command of the fastball. He's just very inconsistent. But for me, it was Mackenzie Gore. I don't care if they got 27 hits and the Giants got 6 hits. It didn't matter. Mackenzie Gore overwhelmed them yesterday like he's capable of doing. Mm-hmm. The one that bothered me was Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday bothered me with Brad Lord. And here's a guy who has not made many starts, and he shut the Giants down for 6 innings, and their bullpen took care of it until the 9th inning. And if Bailey doesn't hit into a double play, you got Ramos and Devers coming up, and Devers was 2 for 2 with 2 walks and having the best day as a Giant. So that was the one that sort of disappointed me that I thought they let get away. But yesterday, Glenn, is baseball like you've seen it, like you grew up with it, like we've seen it a billion times. The pitcher dominates. You're only as good as your starting pitcher that night. And tonight, Webb has got to do what Gore did yesterday. That's what the Giants need tonight. So I wasn't blown out by yesterday. It was more Mackenzie Gore than anything, really.
Yeah. All right. So you talked about some of the Giants players, and I want to kind of go through them with you and get your thoughts on this. There's a lot of talk about Adames and Chapman. They're both very good players. They have very good track records. And I think, unfortunately, right now they're both struggling. Adames had a nice, month of July. He has slowed down a little bit in August. Matt Chapman has struggled in August. But again, we're halfway through. There's plenty of time. And I looked a few things up, Marty, and I think, the strikeout thing is, I hate strikeouts. That, and I know you do too. And I think the fans, they feel like these two guys strike out a lot, but I looked it up and they're really striking out. I'm talking about Adames and Chapman, this pretty much the same rate that they have their whole career. So they're not doing anything more. They're not striking out more. They're actually, if you want to use strikeout percentage, which a lot of people use now, they're a tick below their career averages in strikeout percentage. So it is what it is with these two guys. They're not striking out more. They're not striking out less. They're striking out the amount of times that they pretty much have in their whole career. It is what it is with these two guys. There's a lot of pluses to both of them. At times, you desperately want them to put the ball in play, and they don't. And we've seen that from really the whole lineup this year. But those two guys, I think the only thing that maybe where they have not been career average this year is hitting with runners in scoring position, Marty. Chapman's way down from his career in that area. I mean, he's hitting just 183 with runners in scoring position. His career average is 239. I mean, that's a significant drop. Adames has been better, but he's down about 20 points from his career average. So to me, that it's not the strikeouts. Neither of those guys are going to hit 280. They're not. That's not the kind of hitters they are. I think maybe the area where they have struggled this year more than other times in their career is hitting with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it's
and the numbers back it up.
Yeah, it's when they strike out. They're killing them. One guy's a number 3 hitter, the other guy's a number 4 or 5 hitter. And when they got to get a hit with someone on, one guy's hitting 239, and the other guy is 229 for Adames, and the other guy's hitting 230.
Yeah.
It's when they strike out. It's when they don't get a hit. And that's what's killing this lineup is they get people on base from time to time and they get some action.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the moment when you got to get the big hit to break it open, it doesn't happen. They've played like 75 1 or 2 run games. Every game is the same game every night. 1-1 into the 7th inning, 3-2 into the 7th inning, 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. You're waiting for that moment. Yeah. So Adames and Chapman strike out. Yes, they do. Not a crazy amount, but it's when they strike out. And that's the biggest problem for me. And that's what's killing them. And that's why I say you give me a 280 hitter, you give me Dom Smith, who's hitting 4. They made him a cleanup hitter because he's hitting 280. Yeah. You give me him in a big situation, he's going to put the bat on the ball, chances are. But you give me Adames, and if Adames doesn't get if he gets a breaking ball, he's in trouble. Chapman, if he gets a high fastball, is in trouble. And if pitchers make mistakes, they can hurt them. But if they don't make mistakes, they're very vulnerable.
I want to ask you about Elliot Ramos. He's settled in, it looks like, in that leadoff spot. He may not be your prototypical leadoff hitter. He's done a nice job, though, in that spot. There may not be a lot of options for Bob Melvin as far as a leadoff hitter, but give Ramos his credit. He's done a really nice job getting on base. I know he's got a long on base streak going. He's had a good month of August. He's been hot. So the RBIs have slowed down, obviously, because he is hitting in a different spot. But overall, just his game. And I thought a lot about Elliot Ramos and his game because there's a lot of talent there. You can see it. But his entire numbers, when you look at last year, the power numbers are down a little bit from last year. The run production is down a little bit. And again, some of that has to do with where he is batting first quite a bit. But yet, he does a pretty good job in that leadoff spot. What are your thoughts on Elliot Ramos? Has he progressed this year or has he regressed? Because I think defensively, maybe he's gone in the wrong direction a little bit. But also, if you remember last year, Marty, he really slowed down in the second half. I think he got tired and his numbers really went down. Where this year he looks strong. It looks like, he's learning how to be a big leaguer every day and be able to handle the grind of a 6-month season, which is very difficult to do. So, it's been interesting watching him because you see some progress in some areas and maybe, some spots where he has gone downhill a little bit. And I'm thinking about defensively. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I like him a lot. They don't really have a typical leadoff guy to get on and steal a bag and, have a hit and run guy behind him and all that stuff. It's not the way they play the game. He shows up. The best ability is availability. The guy shows up and he's the leadoff guy against righties, lefties. He gets hits. He gets on base. He's the least of the problems for me. He's a little rough in the outfield. We know it. And that's where he's regressed a little bit, is in the outfield. It's a little disturbing. On anything hit out to left field, that's a tough chance. He could be in trouble. Easy chances he, can make the play. But I like him. I like the bat. I like the fact that he's aggressive. He starts a game off and rips a base hit to right or rips one up the middle. I love him. I think he's fine. And looking, he's 273, 14 homers. He hasn't hit one in, over a month.
It's been a while, yeah.
But he probably needs a rest. Young, Ken Mako always told us, young legs in August are the ones you need. And he's got young legs, but he probably could use a break here and there. Maybe put McRae out there and give him a couple of days off just to regroup. But I like Ramos.
Right.
I think the future is bright for him. He swings the bat. He works hard, and I like the kid. I do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the kid.
I think some of the issues he's had defensively, I think they're fixable. I mean, when he flips the ball back into the infield and he overthrows the cutoff man from 50 feet, to me, that's more of a concentration thing, maybe. And there's enough athletic ability there where I think he can improve defensively. And I mean, I'm with you.